A Very Australian Christmas, written by jimmyhorrors. People reckon the bush is quiet at night, like it goes to sleep, like you can hear yourself think. That's city talk. Out here the dark has layers, insects, leaves, something moving where it shouldn't be moving. The little sounds stitched together, and if you listen too hard, you start hearing patterns that weren't there a second ago. I lit a fire because I wanted my kids to remember Christmas. Not plastic crap and shopping centres and screens. I wanted them to remember a real one. Heat on your cheeks, smoke in your hair. A night where the world feels old and safe. And I know what you're thinking. Total fire ban, heat wave, all of it. I know. I knew then too. It wasn't a bonfire. It wasn't reckless. It was small, controlled. A little ring, a little flame. 10 minutes, I told myself. Christmas. That was the first time it asked. Polite as anything. Do you mind if I come in? I didn't answer, and somehow that counted.
Catastrophic fire danger. Total ban across multiple districts. Authorities are urging.
It started as one of my good ideas. That's the thing about good ideas. They show up clean and shiny in your head, and you don't notice the edges until you're already bleeding. We were 2 hours out of Melbourne, pushing inland, the air getting hotter with every kilometre. Heat shimmer off the bitumen, that mirage wobble that makes the world look like it's boiling. Renee had the window cracked even though the aircon was on. She said she felt sick. She didn't like being trapped in recycled air. I think she just needed to feel like she could get out if she wanted to. Mia had her headphones in, pretending none of us existed. Ollie was bouncing in his seat like the car was a trampoline. Is it gonna have kangaroos? He asked every 10 minutes, like I'd packed them in the boot. And Pop, in the back, did that old man thing where he didn't complain. He just got quieter. He coughed into his fist and waved it off when Renee turned, like he'd swallowed a fly.
It's just the dust. I'm right.
He wasn't right. Not really. But Pop wasn't the kind of bloke who let you say that out loud. I turned the radio down because the warnings were starting to sound personal. Renee looked over to me.
If it's a total fire ban, Dean, we're not doing a fire.
I laughed, like she'd made a joke. Yeah, of course. The words came out too fast, too easy, because somewhere under them I was already arguing. We stopped at a servo on the edge of nowhere, the kind with sun-faded signs and flies that looked like they paid rent. The sky had that washed-out look, pale and wrong, like someone had rubbed all the colour out with their thumb. I bought ice, because that felt like control, like I could do something practical against a day that wanted to win. Outside, a bloke in a high-vis shirt was pumping fuel, squinting at the horizon.
You heading into the bush?
He nodded at our packed car. Yeah, couple nights, bit of Christmas. He made a face.
You seen the smoke? Grass fire, 2 towns over. Wind shifts, you'll know about it.
We'll be right, I said automatically. Pop stepped out slow, stretched his back like it hurt to be in a body. He looked up at the sky and sniffed.
His hair's got some teeth.
Renee shot me a look. Mia didn't look up from her phone. Ollie asked if we could get a chocolate, and I thought, stubbornly, this is still my good idea. This is still me doing something right. The campground sign was a slab of sun-bleached wood with peeling paint. The kind that looked like it had been there since before anyone had a smartphone to photograph it. Under it, taped plastic sleeves held printed warnings. Total fire ban. Penalties apply. No open flames. The word prosecution was in there somewhere. It sat on the page like a finger pointed at me. Renee read it once and said,
Stove only.
"Yep," I said, bright as a child. "Of course." Pop stood beside the sign for longer than any of us. He didn't read it like it was new information. He read it like it was a story he'd heard before, and he didn't like the ending.
We're not lighting anything.
Renee said again, softer this time, like she was talking to a dog that might bolt.
Can we just set up?
Ollie tugged my shirt.
Dad, can we still do Christmas?
"Yeah, mate," I said. "We can still do Christmas." And I meant it. That was the problem. Setting up a campsite is like building a tiny country. You decide where things go. You decide the rules. You decide what's safe. I hammered pegs into dry ground that resisted like it had opinions. Renee laid out sleeping bags and tried to pretend she wasn't watching the tree line every few minutes. Mia wandered off to film something, the bush behind her like a backdrop she didn't respect. Ollie collected sticks, because kids are born with the belief that sticks are treasures. Pop sat in a camp chair in the shade, his hands resting on his knees. He was breathing a bit harder than he should have been for a man doing nothing. "You all right, Pop?" He nodded.
Just hot.
Renee gave him water. He drank it carefully, like his throat hurt. I strung up the cheap solar fairy lights I'd bought last minute, the ones that looked cheerful in the packet and sad in real life. Ollie clapped anyway.
It's Christmas!
Mia didn't look up, but she smiled a tiny bit, like she couldn't help it. And the bush made noise in great sheets, cicadas screaming, then suddenly dropping away into a silence that made my skin prickle, like something had leaned closer to listen. I waited until the sun started to drop, because night makes everything feel more like it should. Night makes rules feel negotiable. I pulled the kindling out of the tub like it was a magic trick. A neat bundle, prepped at home, responsible. Renee saw it and her face changed.
No.
"It's Christmas," I said, like that was an answer. 10 minutes. Small. Controlled.
Dean, it's a total fire ban.
And I'm not an idiot. I've done this my whole life. Mia made a sound that was half laugh, half cough.
Sure.
That got under my skin, because it wasn't about the fire. Not really. It was about the look on Renee's face, the way she watched me like I was a problem she had to manage, like I was another risk factor. I hated that. I hated feeling supervised in front of my own kids. "Ollie wants it," I said, and I know how that sounds now. Ollie looked between us, eyes wide, caught in the middle of the thing adults do where they use you as proof. Renee's voice went tight.
And what if a ranger drives past? What if there's a gust? What if...
"Nothing's going to happen," I snapped. Pop cleared his throat. Not loudly, not angry, just there.
It's not worth it, Dino.
That stung worse than Renee. "We'll keep it tiny," I said, softer. 10 minutes, then I'll drown it, properly. Renee stared at me for a long moment, like she was measuring how much fight she had left. Then she looked at Ollie, and something in her expression gave up.
10 minutes.
I felt relief flood me. I mistook it for victory. The match lit first go. The kindling caught like it had been waiting, like it was grateful. The flame climbed quickly, eager, licking up the little sticks with a hunger that felt personal. "See?" I said, smiling too wide. "Controlled." Renee didn't smile. She watched the smoke, because the smoke didn't rise like it should. It sank. It rolled low around the ring, hugging the ground, crawling like it was looking for a place. Pop coughed immediately, turned his head away. A harsh cough, not polite. The kind that pulls your lungs inside out. Renee moved closer to him.
Pop, you alright?
Pop waved her off, stubborn as ever.
Just smoke.
And then, beyond the firelight, I heard it. Not a cough. A throat clear. Soft. Neat. Like someone was about to speak in a meeting. I froze for half a second. Then I told myself it was a bird. A possum. Anything. Because the alternative was embarrassing. The alternative meant I was spooked. And dads don't get spooked. We ate cold prawns and bread rolls. Christmas dinner, bush edition. The kind you brag about later like it was better than it was. Ollie kept glancing at the fire like it was a pet. Mia filmed something and said it looked post-apocalyptic aesthetic, whatever that meant. Pop barely ate. He sipped water and dabbed at his mouth with a serviette like it was formal dining. The heat didn't leave when the sun went down. It just changed shape. It pressed closer. It sat on your chest. The bush noise rose and fell in waves, and every time it dropped away I felt my stomach tighten, like the silence was a decision. Mia leaned in and sniffed the air.
Smells weird.
"It's smoke," I said.
Nah, like old smoke. Like,
She trailed off, embarrassed to sound dramatic. Renee's eyes flicked to me. She didn't say I told you so. She didn't have to. I checked my watch. 10 minutes, I said, and grabbed the water. I drowned the fire until it hissed and steamed and looked dead. I stirred the ash. I did it properly. I wanted witnesses. "Happy?" I asked Renee. She didn't answer. She watched the dark beyond the ring. Sleep out there isn't sleep like at home. At home, the walls hold you. The roof says you're safe. Out there, you're just a soft thing in a thin skin of fabric. I lay listening to Renee's breathing, to the kids' little sighs and shifts, to Pop coughing softly in the other tent. The heat made everything sticky. The air tasted like dust. Then the air changed. Not cooler, not warmer, just different. Like someone had opened a door you didn't know was there. Polite, a gentle tapping at the zipper, not frantic or animal, like a person. My whole body went rigid.
Do you mind if I come in?
I stared at the tent ceiling, eyes wide in the dark. Renee murmured something half asleep. I held my breath, because if I woke her, if I said it out loud, it would become real. It'd become something I had to handle. I didn't answer. The tapping stopped, like it had heard me anyway. Morning made me feel stupid for being scared. That's what morning does. It turns night into a story you tell yourself you exaggerated. I stepped out and blinked into the harsh light, and the campsite was tidy. Not just, we packed a bit tidy. Tidy like a display. Chairs aligned, shoes paired neatly beside the tent, the rubbish bag tied off with a neat knot I didn't recognize. I stood there, confused, then annoyed, because it felt like someone had been in our space. Renee came out and saw it. Her face went pale. Mia walked over with her phone up, filming automatically.
Okay, that's weird.
she said, for once not joking.
Maybe Santa came.
Ollie said, delighted. I forced a laugh. Yeah, mate. Santa tidied the rubbish bag. Pop shuffled out, coughing, and stared at the fire ring. Around it, pressed deep in the dirt, were footprints. They looked almost like boots until you noticed the shape was wrong. Too rounded at the front and heavy. Too deliberate. Renee grabbed my arm.
We're leaving.
It's possums, I said, immediately too fast. Mia's eyebrows went up.
Ooh, possums wear boots now.
Renee's grip tightened.
Dean!
And I said the thing that doomed us, I think. No, we're not leaving because of footprints. Leaving felt like losing, like admitting I'd been wrong. And I couldn't do that. Not in front of my kids. Mia found it first.
Dad!
She called, and her voice had changed. Not teenage bored, not teenage sarcastic. Something smaller. I walked over and saw it. 2 logs arranged like legs. A flat stone laid across them like a seat, all facing the fire ring. A chair. Not random. Not fallen timber. Arranged. On the stone seat right in the middle like a centerpiece was a gum leaf folded neatly, like a napkin at a fancy restaurant. My mouth went dry. Pop stood beside me and stared at it for a long time. Someone's messing with us, I said, but it came out thin. Pop's cough rasped through him. He swallowed it back and murmured, almost to himself.
Don't set a place if you don't mean it.
What? You reckon the bush has manners now? I tried to joke. No one laughed. Renee's eyes were on me, and there it was again. That look. That management look. I wanted to smash the chair. I wanted to kick the stone into the scrub. I wanted to undo whatever had been done, but I didn't touch it, because touching it felt like acknowledgement, and somehow I knew that mattered. Renee tried to get reception. She climbed a little rise with her phone held up like an offering. Nothing. I tried too. Nothing. The air felt heavier now, thick with heat and something else. A smell that wasn't just smoke, like old fireplaces, like ash that had been wet and dried again. Pop sat in the shade, breathing shallow, sweat on his forehead.
Pop, we should go. You're not well.
Pop waved her off.
Just give me a minute.
Ollie wanted to explore. Mia wanted to leave. Renee wanted to leave. Pop wanted to pretend he wasn't fragile. And I wanted, stupidly, to make it work. To salvage the good idea. I walked around the campsite finding little things to fix. A peg that needed rehammering. A guy rope that needed tightening. Busy work to keep my hands from shaking. Every so often, I looked at the guest chair. Sat there patiently, waiting. I decided, in my infinite wisdom, that the only way through fear was to dominate it. That's what men like me do. We don't admit we're scared. We act. I drowned the fire ring again, stirring the ash until it was mud. Dug it up, spread it out. No heat, nothing left. I wanted Renee to see me do it. Proof. Competence. There, I said. Dead. We went to bed tense and sweaty. And then, later, I smelled smoke. I sat up, hard hammering. There was smoke drifting along the ground outside the tent. No flame. Just smoke. Thick and low. Deliberate. Then I heard it. A soft puff, like someone breathing on coals, and the fire bloomed again in the wet ash. I stumbled out, furious, like I'd caught someone in the act. The flames were small at first, then eager again, rising too fast. Pop started coughing, hard. He sounded like he was tearing. Renee ran to him. Mia froze. Ollie started crying, frightened by the adult's fear more than the fire. And I stood there staring at the relit flame, feeling insulted, like the bush had challenged me. Pop tried to stand. He got halfway up and folded, like his body had made a decision without consulting him. He dropped to his knees in the dirt, coughing so hard he couldn't get air back in.
Pop!
Renee shouted, rushing to him. I grabbed his arm. "All right, Pop, up you get." His skin felt hot and damp. His hand was shaking. And the smoke moved. That's the only way I can say it. It didn't drift, didn't wander. It followed. Low to the ground, sliding after us as I dragged Pop away from the fire ring. I could see the line of it, like a thing with a mind, curling towards his feet. Renee slapped at it with a towel. Useless. Mia stood there with her mouth open, phone forgotten in her hand. Ollie screamed my name. "Dad!" he yelled, and it hit me like a punch. Not Dad as a title, Dad as a plea. Pop's coughing turned wet. He made a sound that wasn't human. Desperate scrape. And his eyes rolled towards me. He gripped my wrist, surprisingly strong.
Dino, you invited it.
What are you talking about? I snapped, because I needed him to be wrong. His fingernails dug into my skin.
You invited it.
He said again. And then he couldn't talk anymore. Couldn't do anything except fight the air that wasn't there. Renee was crying.
Call an ambulance.
I grabbed my phone. No service. I ran a few meters, held it up, turned in circles like that would fix the world. Nothing. Pop made a choking sound. His body jerked. His head lolled. No, I said stupidly, like saying it could undo it. I dropped to the ground beside him and started doing CPR, the way you do when you've seen it on TV. Hard and fast and wrong. His chest didn't move right. His mouth tasted like smoke and copper when I tried to breathe for him. Renee was screaming his name. Mia was crying quietly, like she was trying not to make it worse. Ollie was sobbing so hard he couldn't breathe either. The smoke curled around us like a skirt, and the fire crackled behind me, calm, pleased. Pop's eyes, for a moment, were on mine, clear. Then they went distant. His hand loosened on my wrist. His body went heavy, like it belonged to the ground. I kept pressing on his chest because stopping meant accepting it. My arms burned. Sweat ran into my eyes. The night felt too bright from the fire and too dark beyond it. At some point, Renee pulled me back and I let her, because my hands had stopped obeying me. The bush went quiet, not peaceful, satisfied. I don't know how long we sat there, Pop on the ground, Renee holding Ollie, Mia staring at nothing, and me staring at the fire like it was a mouth. We couldn't leave. Not then. Not like that. We covered Pop with a blanket. It felt wrong to do it, like closing a door that shouldn't be closed. Like saying, yes, this is real. This is final. Renee's hands were shaking so badly she couldn't tie a knot. I did it for her, because I needed something I could complete. Ollie kept asking, "Is Pop sleeping? Is Pop sleeping? Is Pop sleeping?" "Yes, darling," Renee would reply, and then turn her face away so we wouldn't see it break. Mia sat with her knees up, arms wrapped around them, staring at the guest chair like it was staring back. I tried the phone again and again, walking out into the dark, holding it up like a candle. Nothing. The heat didn't ease. It sat on us like punishment. The smoke smell was everywhere, in our hair, in our clothes, in the back of our throats. And every so often, I heard a soft throat clear beyond the light. Not threatening. Patient. As if it was waiting for someone to speak first. Near midnight, the insects stopped. Not faded or drifted away. Stopped. Like someone had flicked a switch. Renee froze. Mia's head snapped up. Even Ollie went quiet, hiccuping softly. The fire ring, which I had drowned and buried and proven dead, had a faint glow again. Not flame, just a low red pulse, like a heartbeat. And beyond it, just outside where the light could properly touch, there was a shape, sitting in the guest chair, still as furniture, calm as a person who belonged there. Ollie lifted his head from Renee's chest.
Dad?
My stomach turned over, because the voice that answered sounded like me. Not exactly, but close enough to make my skin crawl off my bones. "Good boy, bring him closer." Ollie started to move, like a sleepwalker, like a child responding to a command that felt safe. I lunged and grabbed him, held him tight. "No!" I barked, too loud. The shape didn't move, just sat there, waiting, as if my outburst was bad manners. Renee's nails dug into my arm. Mia whispered.
Dad, what is that?
I couldn't answer, because naming it felt like inviting it further. Pop's last words burned on my wrist where he'd gripped me.
You invited it.
I finally understood something I didn't want to understand. It wasn't here because it hated us. It was here because I'd called it. Smoke is an invitation. That's what Pop meant. I'd lit a little flame in a place that was begging not to burn, and the bush had answered like a guest who'd been waiting for a dinner party. The chair, the tidy campsite, the polite voice at the zipper. It hadn't been random. It had been manners, and we'd been rude. Renee whispered.
We have to go.
Mia nodded, eyes wet.
We have to.
I looked at Pop under the blanket and felt something ugly rise in me. Not grief. Not yet. Responsibility. Like a weight I'd picked up and couldn't put down. "I'll fix it," I said, and I heard the stupidity of it even as it came out. Renee stared at me.
Teen.
"Just listen," I said, softer. "I'll take it away." I dug in the ash with shaking hands until I found a little ember still alive, stubborn as a lie. I scooped it into an old tin and snapped the lid on. Inside the tin, the ember crackled faintly, like it was pleased to be carried. Turned to my family. Ollie's face was blotchy with tears. Mia looked older than she should. Renee looked at me like she was seeing a stranger. I forced my voice steady. "Stay in the tent. Don't come out no matter what you hear. I'll be back." Renee grabbed my shirt.
Don't do this.
"Pop's dead," I said, and my voice broke on it. "Because of me." Renee flinched like I'd slapped her. Maybe I had. Maybe I'd slapped us both. I looked at the guest chair. The shape sat there patiently, waiting for the host. So, I became the host. I walked into the dark with the tin held out in front of me like a lantern. The bush seemed to lean closer as I went. Not rushing, not chasing, but receiving. Behind me, I heard a sound like a satisfied breath. Not a growl or a laugh. Polite little exhale, like someone settling in. And then the night swallowed me. They'll tell you I didn't come back. They'll tell you the rangers found Renee and the kids at dawn, packed up, half mad with exhaustion, Pop still under the blanket, the air stinking of smoke that shouldn't have been there. They'll tell you my footprints went a few meters into the scrub and then stopped, like I'd stepped off the world. What they won't tell you, because nobody thinks to look for it, is what was beside the fire ring. A new stone circle, perfect, clean, like it had been there forever. A seat. And the campsite, of course, was immaculate, because the bush has manners, and it doesn't like a messy host. A Very Australian Christmas, written by Jimmy Horrors. Renee was performed by Sarah Jane Justice. Mia was performed by Ponch Monster. Pop was performed by Bryan Jeans. Petrol Station Attendant was performed by Scott Davidson. Dean, Ollie and radio host were performed by James Barnett aka Jimmy Horrors.
Thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe, comment, share and like. And press the bell to get notifications when new videos are uploaded. If you have a story that you want Jimmy Horrors to read, send it to jimmyhorrorsnarrations@gmail.com. Until next time, stay horrific everyone.